Daryl Halligan joins us, and I understand, my friend, that a weather bomb, it's going to be a water park in Sydney for the Rabbitohs.
We're expecting to have between 30 mil and 100 millimetres of rain here. Saturday is not going to be quite as bad, and in the afternoon it might be clearing. So it's actually, there's a bit of a monsoon coming down from the north that's cleaning up the likes of Ballina and that at the moment. So, yeah, it's going to be a really wet weekend here in Sydney, so it'll be a wet game for sure. The Doggies and the Roosters play on ANZ Stadium or Core Stadium, and then the Warriors back up on it the next night, so it could be ripped up the pitch as well. I think it'll be a slugfest. Warriors, South will be really happy. They got up. The Dogs could have nearly got South last week. So, you know, I don't think South are actually cheering at their defence and the way they played, and I know they've got a lot of improvement in them. But yeah, I'm pretty sure the Warriors will have too strong a game for them. I've liked the way the Warriors have actually strung their game together. They've been going out the back a whole heap, and last week they didn't go out the back at all, hardly. They just went right through the middle the whole time. So yeah, I mean, they set up to go out the back and then go through the middle. I like it. They missed Capewell. Roger's been awesome. There's a lot to like about the Warriors, and I hope they continue their winning way here in Sydney on Saturday.
It's interesting you say, isn't it? Because after watching the game against the Knights, and also I felt the same way against Canberra, I didn't actually think the Warriors were going to lose those games. It's a hell of a lot different from the season before last. Last season, of course, great season, but the season before last, Daryl, I mean, the Warriors only won 6 games. And, you know, you always had an impression that they're going to get shaky and flaky at some stage. Not so anymore. How dramatic has that change been?
I think where the confidence comes from is their game, and they'll talk about their game. So they know that if they complete their game and get certain targets ticked off along the way, that they're going to win games of football. I'm sure that involves possession and tackle counts and, you know, controlling the ruck and things like that. But they know that if they actually control enough football, have enough football, execute well enough, that they'll beat anyone. And I think that can't come overnight. So a lot of that base came from how they played last year, how they continued to take that into the off-season and start the season this year. And yes, it relies around so many, you know, key players up through the middle. I mean, even without Wade Egan, we seem to still flow pretty well. When he came back, he added a little bit of a spark. You know, Tohu Harris and Sean Johnson are controlling the ship nicely. And yet they're not only controlling the ship, the guys on the outside and around them are all playing well and scoring tries and scoring points. So they talk about this game, they know how it works, and they know what suits them. And then, you know, Andrew Webster can tinker with it a little bit because they've got the format of a game that a rugby league game that wins against anyone. So, I like it, and that's where the confidence comes from. 230
games in the NRL, 20 tests for the Kiwis, and the premiership winner Daryl Halligan is with us. Also defensively, do you just retain a lot more confidence in their ability to defend, especially their own line?
Confidence like, you know, short dropouts after repeat sets of 6 and try and get the ball back. Okay, we're happy to defend anyway, so we might as well defend from just inside our line. All little things like that are key indicators that you actually back yourself and the other team. You must make them play. So you must make them play by obviously line speed up in their face. You know what I mean? There's decisions to be made on the run and working together. All those things like that. They just are doing that a lot better because they're a lot more cohesive with everyone. So that's, I think, where most of their defensive, solidarity comes from. And if, you know, for some reason we do get it wrong, okay, well, then we just go again, away we go, back and we start. You know what I mean? There's no real big violin being played, people pointing fingers. I love the approach. And it's been an approach even in a couple of losses too. A couple of things weren't quite right today, but we'll get it on the horse next week, and no problem. Good approach.
It's easy, you know, or it's too easy to get too far ahead, isn't it? Because this competition does bite you, and it bites you hard whenever you actually, you know, you start thinking or start planning in advance and going, oh, well, that game's a win, or that game's a win, or that game's a win, which is why I think it's so tricky, this game, away the Rabbits. I mean, what a confidence booster it would be for them, and that sort of lingers in the back of my mind. That's why I just kind of think it's one of those, you know, it's going to be a really hard-focused game, and however the Warriors do this, if they get out with 2 points, I'd say it's a valuable 2 points.
If you expect to win every game, okay, and that's probably an unrealistic expectation, you're going to lose some. But if you go there expecting to win every game, you're going to win more than you lose. Okay, if you go in questioning whether you can or can't win, this is a game that they expect to win. Why do they expect to win it? If they have a look at the opposition, they'll think, okay, South have been vulnerable under sustained attack. So they haven't defended really that well for even last year and even the start of this year. They haven't really defended well in long passages of play. So they think that they'll fall or they'll break or someone on the outside will make a poor decision and there'll be space to attack and score some points. So that's why they'll go into the South game with confidence. So South winning last week was their first win of the season against the Dogs, and it was a bit of a scrappy one. The Dogs had most of the football. That would mean, Jason Demetrio will think, okay, our defence is actually improving. So there's challenges on both sides. But I think if the Warriors get enough football and they just continue to play their style of game, that at some stage there'll be some points scored and there'll be enough points scored to beat South Sydney this weekend.